Hi everybody, it's Jonathan here at Black Barrel Customs, and welcome back. In today's video, we're going to look at the 1/8 inch MeanStreak big bore brass air tube, and we're going to put it up against some competition. We're going to run the standard 7/64 overboard air tube and a standard air tube. To aid us in helping get our numbers, today we're going to focus on the lower three guns. Starting at the bottom is an out-of-the-box 105B buck. It has no mods as of yet. This is just to get a flat line run of what it's capable of feet per second wise. Next up is the 2021 Christmas Wish Red Ryder, and I already have installed in it Cobalt 327's HP compression spring paired with the standard overboard 7/64 air tube. Lastly, I have my little boy's Buck 105, and besides the gun stocks, internal mods are also going to be Cobalt 327's HP compression spring paired with the 7/64 air tube. After we run these numbers on these, I'm going to stop and I'm going to install the brass 1/8 inch big bore MeanStreak air tube that I make. And we're going to run it with Cobalt springs in the top two. And I hope this helps. To help aid in all of this, I drew up this sheet here, and what we're going to do is we're going to compare all of these to each other. To start off with, we'll start off with a stock 105. We'll run 10 shots. We'll figure out the average. After that, we'll do the 7/64 air tube. Another 10 shots, we'll average it. And then we'll do the 1/8 inch big bore, 10 shots with average. Moving down, this will be my boy's gun. It's got the 327 spring with the 7/64. We're going to run 10 on it and average it. Then we're going to run an 1/8 inch. We'll run 10 and we'll average that. Moving on, we're going to do the same thing with the Red Ryder. 10 shot average. 10 shot average. Now, in the Bleeding Blue video, we found out that the OEM Red Ryder, it shot and held pretty decent in the 260, 262s. That's where it seemed to be happy at. So I'm not going to be running the stock numbers on what I already have put together otherwise. With all that said, let's get this sheet filled up. So with all that jazz said and done, we've got some really interesting numbers going on the page. With a stock 105B, it comes in around 244.9. On the low end, it's 237.9. Average them up and meet in the middle, you come at 241 roughly. Now with a 7/64 air tube installed, on the high end you come out at 284, and on the low end you come out at 273. You meet in the middle, come around 278. With the 1/8 inch big bore, it's 245 on the high, 240 on the low. Averages in at 242. The 7/64 drilled air tube takes the win at 15% gain. Now moving on down, you'll see we have the 105B with the Cobalt 327 spring paired with the 7/64 air tube. Looks like on the high end it hit 321.6, and on the low it hit 311.1. Average it in, it comes in around 316 on the average. With the big bore air tube installed, it's 343.3 on the high, 330.9 on the bottom. Averages that all in, comes in around 337. And this big bore air tube takes the win on this with a 6.5% gain. Coming down to the Red Ryder, we got 327 spring, 7/64 air tube. Looks like 354 on the high, 347 on the low. Average it in right around the 350-ish. Add the 1/8 inch, brass air tube. It's 362 on the high, 349 down on the low. Averages in with a 356, average. The air tube is the winner, but it's only shaving by with a 2% gain. If you look at the numbers, there's roughly a 8 foot per second gain average on this, 6 to 8 feet per second gain as far as the air tube, brass air tube goes. So what have we learned about all this? Well, if you had an out-of-the-box buck and you wanted to super up a little bit, I'd probably tell you to go with, drilling your air tube out or just replace the air tube. If you wanted to get into some investment a little bit, you could go with Cobalt 327 spring paired with the brass air tube, and that gets you at 337. And if you had the Red Ryder, well, it's a close shave, but if you wanted the cream of the crop with only a 2% gain, I'd tell you to go with the brass air tube paired with Cobalt 327 spring. As an added note, I'd like everybody to know that my big bore brass air tube, it fits into the BB feeder housing a lot more snugly than the OEM or drilled out air tubes. It's just a sliver larger on the outer diameter. So to install, don't forget to run your wire up through the shot tube assembly, and then, stick your wire into the air tube, feed it all the way through, make sure that it's centered properly, and you're probably going to have to tap it in with a hammer and a rod. But once it's in there, it's in there. The whole bedding process is going to take place after that. Other than that, I hope this helps you guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like it, share to it if you feel like it, and leave me a comment. I understand, I'm having this little bitty chronograph, and people read different numbers on different machines, If you have a different machine and you choose to go with a big bore brass air tube, put a video up about it, because I'm curious what other people who test it out, I'm curious what they got to say about it. So with all things said and done, guys, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next episode. See ya.